Night settles over Jerusalem like a heavy cloak. The streets are quiet, the fires dim, and the air is cool with the scent of olive trees and earth. Beyond the city walls, across the small brook of Kidron, lies a garden. It is a place of peace where Jesus often came with his disciples to pray. But tonight, the stillness carries an unspoken tension, a heaviness that presses upon the soul. In the dim light of the moon, Jesus walks a few paces ahead of his followers. The sound of sandals brushing against dry leaves fills the silence. He stops, turns, and looks at the faces of those who love him, faces weary from the long Passover night. His eyes are gentle, but within them flickers something deeper, the shadow of what is to come. He tells them to wait and pray that they may not fall into temptation. Then he moves further into the garden alone. The weight of the world, unseen but real, presses upon his shoulders. Every sin, every sorrow, every betrayal that ever was or will be begins to converge upon his spirit. He kneels. The ground is cold beneath him. He lifts his face toward the dark canopy of the trees and whispers to the Father, "Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." His voice trembles with humanity, yet his surrender is divine. Sweat, heavy and red like blood, falls to the earth he once shaped with his hands. The night deepens. The disciples sleep, unaware that history is about to pivot upon this moment. And then the stillness breaks. Distant voices, the rhythmic march of feet, flickers of torchlight weaving between the trees. A crowd approaches, soldiers from the temple guard, men armed with swords and clubs, led by one of his own. Judas walks at their front. His expression is strained, his steps uncertain. The silver in his purse clinks softly, a haunting reminder of the price of betrayal. When he reaches Jesus, the air seems to still. He forces a smile, shallow, trembling, and greets him, "Rabbi." And with that word, he leans forward and kisses his cheek. It is done. The soldiers step forward at once. They seize him roughly, ropes tightening around his arms. Peter, filled with sudden fury, draws his sword and strikes, but Jesus commands peace. Even now, in the face of betrayal, his mercy flows. He heals the wounded man with a touch, as though the violence of humanity cannot overcome the love of God. "Have you come out with swords and clubs as though I were a thief?" he says softly. "I was with you in the temple every day, and you did not seize me. But this is your hour and the power of darkness. The torches sway in the wind. The disciples flee into the night, their footsteps vanishing into the distance. Only the echo of chains and the murmuring of soldiers remain. They lead him away through the narrow paths of the garden, past the sleeping city walls, toward the house of the high priest. The night of injustice has begun. The Lamb is led to the slaughter, not by force, but by choice. And as the olive branches sway in the wind, heaven weeps silently. For the hands that once healed the blind are now bound by ropes. The stars fade behind gathering clouds. Jerusalem sleeps, unaware that salvation is being written in its streets. The footsteps fade, and the garden returns to silence. But nothing will ever be the same again. They bring him first to the house of Caiaphas. Torches hiss and smoke curls along the courtyard walls. Inside, men sit in a semicircle, eyes hard, lips tight. They whisper among themselves, searching for something, anything, that might sound like guilt. But none of their stories agree. Lies stumble over lies, and the truth stands silent in the middle of them. Jesus says nothing. His stillness unsettles them more than any protest would. When he finally speaks, his voice is calm, unshaken. He speaks only what is true, and the truth cuts through the chamber like a blade. At his words, the high priest tears his robe and declares blasphemy. The verdict is decided before dawn. Outside, the air smells of smoke and fear. Peter waits by the fire, his face half lit by flame. Someone points at him. Another voice joins, and soon the accusation rings out. You were with him. 3 times he denies it, and then the cry of the rooster. A sound small and simple, yet it pierces through the night like thunder. Peter weeps and disappears into the darkness. Morning bleeds slowly into the city. The guards march their prisoner through the streets toward the Roman fortress. Pilate, weary of the noise outside his gates, listens to the accusations. He studies the man before him, this quiet figure who answers rage with calm. He finds no guilt, yet the crowd grows louder, insistent. Pilate tries to reason, to compromise, to wash his hands of the matter, but the sound of the mob drowns reason itself. Crucify him! The word rolls like a wave through the crowd. Pilate gives in to fear more than conviction, and with a shallow gesture, he delivers the innocent into their hands. The soldiers lead him away. They mock the idea of kingship with a crown of thorns and a robe of faded purple. Each insult echoes their own blindness. They press the cross upon his shoulders and drive him through the narrow streets. Jerusalem watches. Some avert their eyes, others follow in silence, and a few shout with cruel delight. The weight grows heavier with each step until he stumbles. A man named Simon is pulled from the crowd to carry the beam beside him. Together, they climb the hill called Golgotha. The city falls behind them, and the wind grows cold. At the crest of the hill, the sky dims, though it is midday. The soldiers fix the cross into the ground. They raise him between earth and sky, a figure of suffering, yet also of peace. Beneath him, the crowd shifts, some mourning, some mocking, all witnessing something they cannot comprehend. Above his head hangs the notice written by Pilate. Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. Two others hang beside him, men condemned for their crimes. One turns to him with bitterness, the other with a spark of faith. And Jesus answers that faith with a promise of paradise. Hours pass. The light grows strange, the air heavy. From the cross, he looks upon the people, the soldiers, the priests, the broken hearts below, and speaks words of forgiveness. Even in agony, mercy is his language. He sees his mother and the disciple whom he loves. He entrusts them to one another with quiet tenderness. Then silence, deep and unsettling. When he speaks again, his voice rises into the darkened sky. My God, why have you forsaken me? The earth shudders as if sharing his pain. At last, he draws a final breath and says, "It is finished." And the world changes. The veil of the temple splits. The ground trembles beneath the feet of those who thought themselves strong. A centurion falls to his knees and whispers, "Truly, this was the Son of God." Evening comes. The crowd disperses, uneasy and silent. His body is taken down and placed in a tomb carved from stone. A great rock is rolled across the entrance. The soldiers stand guard. The city returns to its noise, but nothing sounds the same. The wind carries an ache through the olive trees of Gethsemane. The sky holds the color of sorrow, and yet, within the silence of that tomb, hope begins to stir. A quiet, patient heartbeat waiting for dawn. The night holds its breath. The world lies still, wrapped in silence deeper than any before it. The tomb rests in the shadow of a garden wall, the stone unbroken, the guards unmoving. But unseen by any eye, something begins to change. The first edge of dawn creeps across the horizon. A tremor moves through the earth, gentle at first, then strong enough to shake the stone loose from its place. Light, pure and living, spills into the darkness. The silence breaks. He is gone. The burial cloths lie folded where his body once lay. The air itself seems alive with the echo of a heartbeat that death could not still. At sunrise, Mary Magdalene comes to the tomb, her eyes swollen with grief. She finds the stone rolled away, and she runs to tell the others. They race through the morning mist, hearts pounding with fear and wonder. Peter stoops to look inside and finds only emptiness and hope. Mary lingers there, weeping. Through her tears, she hears a voice, gentle, familiar. She turns. A man stands before her in the light of dawn. At first, she does not know him. Then he speaks her name, Mary. And in that one word, the weight of the world lifts. Death has lost its hold. The garden blooms with the sound of joy reborn. Later, he will walk with his friends again. He will speak peace over their fear, break bread with them, and open their eyes to the truth that was hidden in plain sight. He will show them his hands, still marked by the price of love, not as a wound, but as a promise. And when he ascends, leaving them in the light of a new morning, he leaves behind not absence, but presence, a fire kindled in human hearts that will never be extinguished. The story does not end at the cross. It begins there. From that hill of sorrow rises the anthem of life, a song that whispers through centuries, a voice that calls every soul by name. I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though they die, yet shall they live. The world that once trembled in darkness now stands in the glow of everlasting dawn. The cross that once symbolized death now stands as the doorway to life. The blood that was shed in sorrow now flows with eternal grace, and as the heavens open in silent praise, the words echo through eternity. He was punished for our sins. He was wounded for our transgressions. He bore our shame so that we might be free. The grave is empty. The promise is fulfilled, and love, unbroken, undefeated, unending, reigns forever. In our hearts,